What comes easy won't last long, and what lasts long won't come easy. And that's by Anonymous.
I love when there's anonymous quotes.
Me too.
That person's so smart. They've said so many good quotes. Hello, everybody. This is Chad and Fallon.
Hi.
We back. Finding Us the podcast. It's been a little while.
A little bit.
Today, we're going to be talking about another song from our album, The Story of Us. I forgot the name of it for a second. This is the song I Won't Give Up. Very popular song. And we're going to get into the reasons why we chose it, because there's always a much deeper meaning behind why we choose to do the songs we choose to do.
Always.
What we do, boo-boo. I don't know why that just flowed really well.
Did.
And so, yeah, we're going to get into that here on Finding Us the podcast. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be awesome. Welcome back. It's Chad and Fallon, Finding Us the podcast.
Hey.
We are so happy to be back. It has been a while, has it not? I don't even remember when our last episode was.
It's been a hot second. Life has gotten weird.
It has gotten weird.
But we're back, which is all that matters.
We are back. We told you we'd be back, and we back.
We'll be back.
Wow.
That's my best Terminator impression.
So, quick update. What's there to update? What are we going to update the peeps on?
Well, Chad, tell
2020
me about
is
your life.
over.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's the biggest thing to update on.
Is it,
Everybody
though?
knows, though, at this point that 2020 is over. It's over for everybody.
Y'all, I have to make my joke.
Oh, make it.
I have been saying this all month. It's like a dad joke now.
Uh-oh.
It's December 35th of 2020. Right? Isn't that kind of funny?
It's pretty
it's
funny.
like it's supposed to be whatever the date is, 2021, but we're still in
We're
2020.
still in 2020.
So that's
It does
fun.
feel like it. I mean, 21 got off to a great start, you know? It was like a quick reminder. Hey, anyone who was like all excited that 2020 was coming to an end, thinking anything would change, we're quickly reminded, oh, no.
Yeah, I don't even.
It's just, it's just more. It's just going to be more. So just buckle down.
Yeah, I don't know why we even attempted to celebrate New Year's Eve, because I found myself like, what is the point of these shenanigans?
My favorite meme I saw was it showed the Joker showing another like clown character around, and it basically said 2020 showing 2021, you know,
Around the
ropes
workplace.
around the workplace or whatnot.
And I think it was the clown from It, which is
That's what it
terrifying.
was, yeah.
Hate clowns.
Yeah.
The worst.
Well, that's why it's in it. And that's why when we watched that movie, you didn't watch a second of it. You just
Exactly.
looked at the side of my head the whole time.
Right.
Anywho, yeah, so 2020's over, but, you know, 21's going to be another year full of stuff. So
It'll be a roller coaster.
buckling down for that.
Yeah, we'll just wait and see.
Fallon and I went to Colorado. We went on a trip to Colorado.
We sure did.
Which was kind of crazy because we were surrounded by the fires there, the Colorado
Right.
fires, some crazy stuff. There's
Yes.
I posted some pictures of that
Yep.
on
We've
our
posted
socials.
a lot of photos.
Yeah, that was pretty scary. Like we got out of Estes Park like the day before they manually evacuated everybody out of there.
Right.
So, or mandatorily. I don't know what word I'm looking for.
They just, I mean, it was mandatory evacuation at some point.
Yeah. And so
Because
anyways, yeah.
it was like another fire started.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
It was really
crazy.
sad. I mean, we fell
It
in
was
love with the
sad.
area, and some of the area that we were there seeing it, we fell in love with. We like
Yeah.
the next day, like had fire
Yes.
cross over it, and
Yep.
yeah, it was
And burnt it all up.
pretty crazy to be there and witness that and see that happening in such a beautiful area.
I know.
But very shortly after that, I think they got a bunch of snow, which finally stopped a fire that had been going on for months, like literally many months, which is insane.
Yeah.
Anywho, so that was pretty crazy. We got through the holidays, went to my hometown of Fort Myers for, no, we didn't. Not for Thanksgiving.
did.
Yes, we did. I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Went to Fort Myers for Thanksgiving, my hometown. which was great. And then spent Christmas up here. Christmas got delayed a little bit because of COVID stuff, because everybody around us has suddenly gotten COVID
Yep.
during that month of December. It was,
It was wild here in Tennessee. I don't know if y'all knew.
My wife and I still have not gotten it. Everybody we know who's gotten it, of course, is fine. But, we're just waiting to get it, even though it'll be inconveniencing. We'll just do more podcasts, If we get COVID and we have to quarantine for, whatever, we'll just do a bunch of podcasts, right?
Sure.
Now they're all going to be cheering for us to get COVID. JK. Fallon and I are very much a cliche right now. We have started off the new year really hatching down on our health and our fitness, physical health and fitness. We've been trying to hatch down our emotional health for years now, but our physical health and fitness. It's a funny story here. When before my wife and I got married, you know how a lot of us, at least, my wife and I both did, where we had like these certain checklists, in our young, like naive single person brains that were like, okay, whoever I marry has to have this, or they can't have this. For one, Fallon said that she would never marry a guy with tattoos. And here I am with a whole arm of tattoos. So that's fun. And one of mine were, I'm going to marry somebody who works out with me, and my wife couldn't be further from that.
Nope.
Until
this
year 2021, people.
Y'all, I have never cared about working out. I don't care for it. I don't care about it. I've never loved it. I do not diet. I have always eaten whatever I want. Hate me.
Everybody hates you right now.
I know.
I try every day to not hate you for it.
I mean, it's been wonderful, but as we all know, the human body, y'all, it comes to a point where, for women, I think mostly, get into our 30s and it's like, oh my gosh, things aren't working like they're supposed to, and my metabolism no longer works. So anyways, I'm about to hit my 30s, and
she's finally there, guys. She's finally there.
I'm totally there, but I am on board. I mean, it's
almost been a month, and she's still going, guys. Still going.
I don't think I've ever made it past like 3 days. If I've tried to start working out in the past, I don't think I make it past 3 days. Because then I'm out. Yeah. I'm just like, forget this. I know. This is for the birds.
Because every time my wife tells me that she wants to start working out, like I immediately, get excited, and so I go and like buy her all the things on whatever she wants to do, and then that stuff never gets used again after that.
Nope.
But she's sticking to it this time. We're both losing weight. We're doing a bunch of we're doing like calorie counting kind of thing. So it feels like something we could do long term. It's not just some fad diet that'll just lose us a bunch of weight just so we can gain it back. That kind of stuff.
Side note. In my young life, I legit think that I said I will never be the person that counts calories ever, and here I am counting calories like a calorie counter.
How many things in our life can we say we swore we would never do?
I don't know.
We are.
Why do I? Yeah. Well, thankfully, that language is mostly gone, I think.
So yeah, we're doing that. We're a big cliche. Check with us in a few months and like see if we're still sticking to it. I think 3 months is the time frame that most people drop off whatever their New Year's resolutions are.
Well,
so. We'll check back in with you then.
Stay tuned.
We got them all keeping us accountable right now.
Stay tuned. You never know.
So podcasts, we are excited, and we are going to be doing a lot more shows this year, 2021. We are also planning on launching a Patreon page along with it, and there will be different incentives that we are still trying to navigate and figure out what those are. But stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome.
They could email us and give us some incentive ideas.
Of course.
I think we've talked about that before. Have. We did a live show or something, and people were giving us ideas, which were awesome.
Yeah. But email if you have ideas. So on the way Patreon works is people will back, for instance, when we have a page, people will back us and support us, and they will pay based off of tiers, and each of those tiers have different incentives. Some of the incentives I know that we're going to do is we're going to have a once a month podcast show. Maybe every other podcast episode we do will be exclusive to people who follow us on Patreon, and those episodes will be completely designed around you guys, the Patreons, whoever's on Patreon. You guys can ask us all the questions you want to, and we will answer for those episodes, we will do the episode based around your questions who are on Patreon. We're also talking about potentially doing a little bit of one-on-one coaching situation. Talking about that, see how that looks, how many we want to take on. If we want to do that, that's obviously a big commitment. So we're trying to navigate that and figure that out. Let us know if you guys would be interested in that kind of thing.
TBD.
TBD. It would also be like a highest tier thing, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we just got some ideas that we think it'd be really fun, and it's a really amazing way, to bring you guys alongside us. We talk so much about vulnerability and stuff, and that's going to be the perfect place for it, where we can really connect more in depth and really be able to personally respond back to you a lot more easily than we can elsewhere. So we're excited about the future of that.
Very.
Another big thing we're excited about in the future.
Yes.
I put out a little teaser post about this on our Instagram page.
Have you?
I have, but we have an album coming out called Serenity in Him. Yep,
this is the
play
first
on
time
words.
we've
Him.
mentioned it.
By the way, the hymn is spelled Hymn. So there's
fun.
the play on words. Serenity in Him, like a hymn. It's a hymns album. I'm not going to speak any more into it. I'm just going to tease you guys a little bit here. It's going to be like nothing you've heard from us or the Anthem Lights camp or anything. It's going to be we're going to call it an experience.
Yeah.
It is an experience.
Yes.
It's an experience around wellness. And it ties in perfectly to what we're all about and what we do. So we've been working hard on that for a while. That release date will be Good Friday. We will give you more details about the album as it gets closer, but wanted to give you guys a little teaser. Good Friday is April 2nd. So you got to wait a little bit, but I think it'll be really cool. It's one of those things that's a big risk. It's going to be like, people are either going to really love it or they're going to be like, I hate that. Like, it's just one of those things. It's not a middle ground. It's not a safe thing to do at all for us, but we're doing it because, YOLO.
So the project is actually a huge reason why we halted podcast production, because we're working real hard on this other project. So very excited.
Yeah, it's not a typical cover album.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that. Like I said, it's an experience. So we'll tell you more about that in the future. All right. Well, we have a question. We got a lot of questions. We went to our email for the first time in a while because, we've been kind of in other areas other than the podcast show, which is changing now. And we went through a bunch of emails, had a lot of audio questions, which are really great. And we want to get to most all of them on the show eventually. And so guys, keep sending us questions. You can either, we ideally send us the questions through a voice memo or something, an audio file of some sort, so we can play it on the show like we're about to do and then answer that question. Or if you can't do that, you can go ahead and type it out and we'll read it out loud. We would love to answer any of your questions. You can also, if there's any questions you guys have for us that you don't specifically want to be aired, and you just want to ask us a question about anything, and again, we always say the tougher the better, then please do that too. Just specify to us when you send that email that this is just for us and you would not like us to play or talk about it on this show. And that email is findinguspodcast@gmail.com. Not finding us the podcast, findinguspodcast@gmail.com. Please email us. All right, so here's a question from, Darren, right? Darren from Australia.
Hi, Chad. Hi, Fallon. My name's Darren. I'm from Australia. So I'm a big Anthem Lights fan. I have been, I guess, since 2015 when my father passed away. I was never been really religious, and I guess I started listening to Anthem Lights just to help me get through your songs and your videos. So I just want to say thanks for that. As I said, I've never been religious, and since then I've, being religious has helped me, get through the hard times I've had in my life. A couple of years ago, I lost my partner at the time, who passed away in a car accident as well, and it's been really tough. But through this time, I've turned to gambling as an addiction. When I get bored, I gamble. In Australia, gambling is really accessible. Like, you go to any pub, you can gamble on your phone. sports all around the world. There's always something on, and always when I'm sitting there doing nothing, I'll just go on the phone and just gamble on something, and it's been really hard. I've tried to stop it, I just can't. I don't know why, and I've lost friends, and I just want to know. I don't know what your addiction is, but Chad, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I can't see the light in the tunnel. I've been to one-on-one, Gamblers Anonymous meetings, and just doesn't seem to help. And I don't know what to do. I'm really, really struggling because over the last, couple of weeks, it's been really hard. And, it's not like I need the money. I've got the money to gamble, but it's just really hard. If you have any advice, I don't know if your addiction is the same. I just want to know what help you could offer me.
Man, Darren, first off, I can hear the pain in your voice. I mean, we can hear it. You've had a lot of loss, and I can't even pretend to. I can't even pretend like I understand and get that. I've never had anyone that close to me pass away. So I can't. Two people.
Close.
I mean, yeah, and I'm just saying I haven't had one. You know. So I just can't imagine the pain you're going through in that. We talk a lot about grief in past episodes. I think it's episode 4. I think is episode we talk a lot about it. But yeah, man, it's tough. So. I know you've said that you have gone to meetings, that you've been to Gambling Anonymous meetings. One of the first things I did is I heard this question was I was looking up 12-step meetings in Australia for this. And you said it wasn't really helping you. I don't know anything more behind that. However, I just want to share a little bit, just a touch of my experience when it comes to 12-step meetings. I walked in a 12-step meeting for the first time because my butt was on fire. Essentially, my marriage was falling apart. My world was crumbling around me, and honestly, I went because my wife pushed me to go. And at the time, I was like, I'll do whatever she wants me to do, And I walked into my first 12-step meeting, and honestly, I thought it was a cult. I immediately. I walked out of there like, I am never going back to that place. Like, they all repeat their names, and every time they talk, they have to say they're like, what? And everyone says, hi, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, what is this place? And it took me, it was a good, I had to hit more wall. Basically, I kept going. I would go to a meeting about once or twice a week, essentially, which is a lot for some people. But I was the guy I was the last one in the door and I was the first one out the door. I went to meetings strictly for me. It was to please my wife. I was not fully in it. I had not fully, apparently I didn't hit rock bottom enough yet to get to the point of surrendering to the program, and surrendering to the other guys in the program, and what that program can bring for you, and the steps, and then I hit another rock bottom where I finally admitted I can't do this on my own. I need to actually do this program, and so I went back and I went from having one phone number to getting 50 phone numbers in a matter of a couple of weeks, and I've just not looked back since. I've been working the steps, working with a sponsor, checking in regularly. My community has very quickly become the program. The guys I am closest to, the guys I spend most of my time with and I talk to the most, are guys in the program who, by the way, when I was in the place of I don't want to be here, I remember saying to my wife, I'm not going to be friends with any of these people. We don't have the same interests. We don't this. They're just not my kind of people I would hang out with. But man, once I got over that, now they're the only kind of people I want to hang out with. And that is because we obviously connect in a place that I cannot connect with anyone else in my life. We get each other more than anyone else in my life. I know these men better than anyone else knows these men, and they know me better than anyone else knows me. And having that kind of community and that kind of empathy for what you're going through, and people who can say, I get it. When you share something that you just swear that nobody would get, you feel like you're alone in it. And a lot of what I hear from you in this call is it feels like you just feel very alone in this. And man, that's just a place I have been in many times. And I swear to myself that I will never go back, because you can't do this alone. And that's one of the biggest gifts of the program. The biggest gifts of the 12-step meetings is that community and having people say they get it. Now, it takes guts to go. It takes guts to get people's numbers. Just walking in the door, sitting in a meeting and leaving that's not working the program. It helps to hear people say things that I'm sure you're like, wow, yeah, that's me. I've never heard anyone share that before, but man, I can relate to that. That's great. But until you, like, as soon as that meeting's done, you go up and meet people, get people's numbers, get a sponsor, start to work the steps. I forgot what the saying is, but I think it's something like going to meetings will help keep you sober, but actually working the steps is what creates the growth and healing, and long-term sobriety. And so anyways, I know you've been to those meetings, but I don't know how long you went, what your experience was. And even if you walk in one place and, like, I don't know, there's just something about it, the people there aren't really resonating with you, try other rooms. There's a lot, I'm sure there are a lot of meetings, a lot of different rooms, a lot of home bases is what they call it, for these meetings, and just give those a try,
Not all meetings are the same.
Not all meetings are the same.
Learned.
That is true. No, it's true. So I just encourage you to do all that. Man, I hear often about, you've resonating on your addiction, which is right now is gambling. First off, been there, done that. It still could go there any day, In fact, I have moments where I'm like, oh man, I need to stop, I'll go, like, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, I'm going to bet on this game this weekend because, it'd be fun. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh man, I want to bet on this game. And oh man, I want to bet on this game. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh crap. Nope, I'm done. My point is, and as far as my addictions go, like I can be all over the map. I mean, anybody can be addicted to anything essentially, and I have proven that almost. Like, I mean, I can any day. It depends on what week it is. On something that takes me a few days to realize. Oh man, I am trying to numb and tune out life on this or that or this or that, and it can be things that are socially acceptable, like food or, watching TV or gaming or just, it could be all those things. And it can be the big stuff that the 12-step meetings are based around and all that stuff and whatnot. But I just want to say that the addiction of choice or the vice of choice is not the problem. People will walk into those meetings being like, I need to stop X, Y, and Z. In your case, I need to stop gambling. I'm here because I need to stop gambling. And that is completely missing the essence and the point of what's happening. That gambling for you right now is just the go-to. It's what you, for whatever different reasons, that's the thing, your biggest addiction and biggest outward thing right now. And the thing that you feel like you are unmanageable. You mentioned losing friends over this, which, I mean, welcome to the club, I mean, they're damaging. Any sort of big addictions like that, I mean, they will do a lot of damage. But I just want to say that the addiction itself of whatever it is not the problem. It's not the problem. The problem is the layers of stuff that we're attempting to cope with. It starts in the heart. It starts inside. I mean, there's layer after layer of stuff that is so much deeper than you can even imagine, so much deeper than stuff that you are probably not even close to becoming aware of yet. That stuff like the program, stuff like 12 steps, stuff like going to a professional counselor, doing trauma work, or doing the deep stuff. That's the only kind of stuff that will uncover what's going on, because all you're doing with gambling, and all anyone does with any sort of addiction that they go to, is they are trying to cope and numb something. And oftentimes we don't know what it is. Obviously, the losses in your life are, I'm sure, a massive factor in that. So, I just encourage you. But the problem, again, it's not addiction. It's the problem is just layers of stuff we're trying to cope with, like anxiety, depression, PTSD, loneliness, rage, despair, toxic secrets, regrets, yada, 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 yada. I mean, it's just, the soon-to-be counselor over there can speak more into that if she wants to, but it's just a long list of stuff. And but addiction is often someone's best attempt to cope when they don't see other options. So I just want to share, and all I can do is share my experience around this. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. I can only share my experience. And man, I just hear the loneliness in your voice, and and that pains me. You're a long way away from me. You're in Australia, or I'd be like, hey, let's get a coffee or something sometime. But because just community is going to be the most healing thing. That's the biggest gift of the program, and what it brings is the community, the empathy of people saying, I've been there too. And it just sounds like that's something you might really need right now. So Fallon, you have anything to speak into it?
Yeah, I'm over here thinking maybe Chad should be pursuing a master's degree in counseling. He basically took the words right out of my mouth. So good job. I think what I want to say is, like, getting into the behavior is what brings us to 12-step or counselors. Is the behavior that we want to stop. And so, yes, in the beginning, I think it is focused on the behavior, on stopping the behavior, but it gets into the heart issue and what's really underneath, the behavior. Why? The question is, why am I doing X, Y, and Z? What is it that I am trying to cope with? Which is exactly what you said. And that takes time. It takes time to process. In my experience, it has taken professional help. The program is wonderful. I would not, I don't know what I would do without weekly meetings. And I think that the program has helped me to a certain point. It's not the end all. For me, it takes a cocktail of things. The program has provided a really safe space, community, like a very safe community, which, by the way, I didn't have before walking into the rooms. Like, really, I didn't. And so it's allowed me the space to be myself and to show up and to practice these, like, skills, social or not social, just skills of, having a true friendship and what that looks like, and showing into me, you see intimacy, showing my intimate, most vulnerable self to people around me who don't reject me, who say, I understand, I've been in the same boat, that sounds hard, or that makes complete sense why you feel that way. And that is what's healing. Like, that is so, so, so healing. And I didn't even know that I needed that in my life. I didn't know that healing would come from that. And so I cannot encourage you enough to try to pursue friendships. Some of the closest friendships that I have in my life today, that I did not have even 2 years ago, are people that I have met through the program. And it's just so special. So anyways, on top of that, professional help is really, really important. I would not be where I am today without professional help. It is so, so vital, even if it's not something that you stay like long-term with. That's not what I'm saying here. With addiction, it can't be, I don't know. What's right for people is based on each person. But even if it's just initially going to a professional counselor to gain education around the addiction, what's going on in our brain. I mean, it is fascinating. You can pick up so many books around the brain, the neurochemistry of what happens behind addiction. So it's not only like it's this physical thing that's happening, it's also a psychological thing. And we can have physiological body responses from, different situations. And so just from a standpoint of an initial like education, gaining knowledge about the addiction and what is going on is really, really, really important. And then of course, doing trauma work is really important. I too want to say I'm so sorry for your 2 losses. I cannot imagine losing my father and then losing my partner within the span of a few years. I can't imagine how painful that is. And what I make up is that, the gambling addiction is what is being used because it's a behavior, and it can be a lot of other things, but that is what's being used to cover up some, deep crap. And deep feelings. And my encouragement with, safe community and a counselor to explore. And it's so much easier said than done, but to explore the feelings of, what's going on underneath the surface and to really let yourself feel. And something that I heard recently that I absolutely love, it's a saying, feeling your feelings is healing. I think we said that before, maybe even in the other podcast, but it's very, very true. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. I could talk about this all day, but that's my 2 cents. And I'm so thankful, for your willingness to be vulnerable and to send in the question, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that are dealing with any pain. It doesn't have to be loss, y'all. I mean, it can be like the pain, the losses that 2020 brought. I have had to deal with a lot of losses in 2020, not losses of humans, close to me, but there have been so many losses in 2020. And I think that it's really, really important to look at that and to grieve that and to allow space to feel that. So,
yeah.
And also, I just wanted to add that for me, this program, it's a self-help program, but as I've heard it said and as I've learned, it is also a God help program.
It is a spiritual program.
It's a spiritual program. And to me, that's just a really important principle to remember.
But the beauty of it is, I mean, you can go into it having no God. I mean, you could be an atheist.
Exactly.
I mean, but it's still a spiritual program.
Thing.
Yeah, that's what's
right.
beautiful about it.
Because I had no idea that, in a sense, like I can create my own higher power, and the way that, the God of my understanding, which if you read the 12 steps, it says that a lot. The God of my understanding may not be my husband's God of his understanding, or whoever's God of their understanding. And dude, that took me some time to like get past the point of, judging myself of what if I'm wrong. And also, oh my gosh, other people can have their own higher power. So there's my control coming out, being like, what? It just didn't make sense to me. So all that to say, it's a really important thing that I have learned that has come out of my experience of the program. And I heard, in your share that that you're not a religious person, or you haven't been a man of religion. And religion and spirituality are 2 separate things, which is beautiful. And I didn't know there was a difference. So I just wanted to share my 2 cents.
That's a good point. Thank you so much, Darren. Really appreciate you being vulnerable, and sending us in that question. Welcome back, Finding Us the Podcast. Track 9 on The Story of Us, an album by this band called Finding Us. is I Won't Give Up. It's a song that a lot of you have probably heard many times, but here's a little clip.
'Cause even the stars, they burn, and some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn, and God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up.
Obviously, we try to do it our own way, but Jason Mraz did this song originally better than I think anyone could. I think so. I don't know. But this is a song that I first talk musically, like I always like to do. I don't think there's anything special about this musically. Josiah did guitars. We on the arrangement and whatnot. I always do the vocal arrangements. This one obviously is very much a song that should come from the guy to his wife or any relationship really. But in my particular case, as I'll get into in a minute, this song was very personal to me. This is one of those songs that I'm like, how didn't I write this song? This is like my soul and lyrics. And so I had to do it. And basically had to sing it to her, and the video and even in the studio, just thinking, definitely had her very much on my mind as I was singing this song. So musically speaking, nothing special about it other than the fact that my lovely wife, backs me up on it pretty much.
Sure do.
Sure do. Do it well, too.
Thank you.
Some lyrics when we get into the reason for... I'll first talk about, I want to talk about why this is special to me, why I wanted to do this song and put this on the album. And I think you have a little different viewpoint, little angle on the song that I thought was really cool.
Angle.
A little touch, whatnot. But like I said, for me, everything about this song was just so personal. It's literally like this guy saying my story and my feelings toward my wife, through all that we've been through, which we've talked a lot in this show. There's been points, and I say points plural, where we thought the marriage was gonna fall apart, due from addictions and past hurts and old traumas and old wounds that have surfaced, in our marriage, and which has been really difficult, obviously. And a lot of this song is, I think, like you mentioned, it's about giving space, or whatnot. And some of the lyrics that I want to highlight and talk about the most that, again, as I'm singing, I'm just like, I wrote this, right? I didn't, because it's brilliant. He writes it in a way that I cannot. But from verse 1, and just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? My wife has come a million miles in her journey as well. And that's something I'm incredibly, incredibly thankful for, or I don't know where we would be today. Oftentimes when men go through, addictions that almost tear apart their family, oftentimes the wife stands by with her arms crossed saying, this is your crap. You need to get your crap together. You're the one who needs to do the work. And the wife doesn't do anything. Which
I have done that at one point.
She did do that for a bit, yeah. But I'm very fortunate that my wife went to recovery herself and went to support groups that support, went to 12-step groups that support women who are going through exactly what she's going through.
Spouses and relatives and family.
And so
friends.
I'm just, so talking about how far they've come, that's my wife. And the how old is your soul line, I die over, because my wife, she may be 28 years old, 29 years old.
Yeah, there it is.
You didn't even correct me.
Well, I was about to say close.
I thought you were nodding your head did you forget you turned 29 like I just did?
I was thinking, close.
She's 29 years old now, guys. And it's been that long probably since we've done a podcast. 29 years old now. And we, throughout our marriage, she's somebody who just immediately latches on to girls that are women that are that are women and not girls. That's the best way to explain it.
That is the best way to explain it.
I mean, she's drawn to the women who have just done life and have been through stuff oftentimes and just, I don't know how else to explain that. But we always to say that she's an old soul because she may be 29, but she's like a 50-year-old woman. And,
I really am. I mean, y'all, like, I am not #basic. I'm just not. And just not.
There you go. From verse 2, and when you're needing space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. Dang. These are just powerful lines. Like when we've been through what we've been through and we read these lines, it's just like, you feel something in it.
Oh, so good.
I mean, that speaks for itself. I mean, there's times where she just needed space, and I needed to give her that space, which was very hard for me just to give her that space and just be patiently waiting. If she decided that she wanted to continue to work on us and this marriage, and I'm fortunate that she did. Going on, there's a part in the song, because even the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We've got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. Because even the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We've got a lot to learn. Oh, do we?
Oh, boy.
Oh, do we? We've learned so much over the past couple years, yet we know that there's still so much to learn. But that's a part of this journey, is we're never going to stop. We're never going to stop giving up on that.
Yeah.
And continuing to learn and continuing to improve as not only in communication with each other and marriage, but just ourselves as individuals. There's just so much more to learn. And I can't help but feel like God knows that we're worth it, So whenever I hear that line, I'm just like, there's just things that have happened. I hope my hope is that God can use to to make us stronger. The whole concept of we've been through fire and we've walked out much stronger. I mean, that's what I very much feel like is going to happen with our marriage, and it has happened. I mean, we are here on this show. Hopefully there's a person or two out there that, is resonating to the stuff we say because we've been through stuff. And it's the only reason why we can talk about it, and go through it.
Yeah. Can I say two things? Because I'm not going to think about this when I'm talking.
Yeah.
Just on the part, we've got a lot to learn. I've heard it said, I will never arrive. We will never arrive. And I think that before recovery, I thought, there was this goal that I would reach and obtain and then move on. And boy, that is so wrong. I think that I will continue to learn as I'm on my, hopefully 90s plus deathbed. I mean, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad you spoke into that, because I mean, that was one of my things that my ego was telling me, and tells a lot of guys who walk in those 12-step meetings at first, is I'm going to do what I need to do to be cured and be over it. Something funny my sponsor says pretty often, if somebody should disappear or whatever, just all of a sudden, just you just don't hear from them for months. People are like, I haven't heard from so and so. My sponsor's always like, I guess he's cured, and of course says it sarcastically, because that's one of the things that I've in my surrendering over to this process and this program, is I am an addict and I will always be an addict. And that is always going to be there. And as soon as I get complacent, and as soon as I decide I'm good, I don't need to go to meetings, I don't need to be, I don't need to be talking about this or anything. I mean, I know this because of other guys' experiences. Yeah. There are guys who have been through that, thought, just got complacent with it, thought they were good to go after many years of sobriety, and they're right back off the wagon, and they're coming back, just their world is falling apart again, and I mean, examples been done time after time, and it's just something I'll never do, and I'm totally okay with that. I was saying before, I don't know where I'd be without these guys in this program. And so, I'm completely okay with that. Like I was a couple years ago, where I was like, when am I going to be cured so I can stop going to these meetings? Hey.
You know what's funny?
Yes.
What I hear is you never graduate.
No. you
That's
don't.
what we say in our program.
And what's funny
graduate.
is I'm completely 100% thankful for that. You know, that's the biggest change. And that's something I swore I would never think, you know, because my ego is always, I'm not doing this the rest of my life. Like, I'm not going to be in this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I am so thankful that I have the program and I have this journey that I'm on right now, because I wouldn't want it any other way. But it took, obviously, a lot of hard stuff to happen for me to get there. Yeah. The whole bridge of this song, I just want to read the lyrics too, because all of it is just our story, and it's just my story and my things that I wanted, you know, to say to you just in a much better way. It says, I don't want to be with someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts. We got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend. For us to work, we didn't break. We didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not and who I am.
Those last, like, oh my gosh.
I want to take that
That's so good.
and put it on a painting.
Do it.
And just put it on the wall.
Get it printed. I love that.
And just have his face singing it.
Awkward.
Yeah, I know. I'm a fan. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, everything about that just felt like it's worth reading here. And then, of course, the chorus of the song, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. I'm still looking up. And that's like a motto right there. You know, that's like something to write in your journal every day, is that I won't give up, even if the skies get rough, because they will continue to get rough.
Absolutely. That's life.
Again, we are not cured.
Nope. Well, even in life in general.
And just in life in general, of course.
Yep.
But I'm still looking up. So.
That is so good.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yeah, so for me, we had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. Oh my gosh. Like, if that has not been my struggle, I don't know what is. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, I've totally...
Feels like the world is ending, basically, when things are going really bad.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, my life, like, shuts down. And so that's the beauty of recovery, is how can I continue, you know, to show up for other people in my life when the world feels like it is caving in, because that has happened and it can still happen. And the question is, you know, who do I want to be, you know, when that's going on? I don't know the answer to that question. Like, I'm still learning that, which is great. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not and who I am. Oh, that's so good. I think for me in my recovery journey, my journey of life, like that has been, that's just my story. I've had to learn, like, take away all the masks, and who am I?
Not COVID masks, right?
You're not. Oh
just God. You have to clarify. It's 2021.
You're hilarious. All the masks, the personas that I put on, you know, that everyone puts on, the ego, because we want to look a certain way or make people feel a certain way or whatever. And, you know, shedding all of that, like the false egos, like we've talked about before. And who am I? What do I like? Who is Fallon? Who is fill your name in? Not, you know, not liking things because I am told this is what I should like, or I am, you know, societally told this is what I should or should not do, or whatever. I mean, it could be parents, it could be family members, whoever it is. And just getting down to that true, authentic self. And again, it takes time, and it's frustrating that it takes so long, but it does. But it's worth it. And I just want to say, so just in general, in reading over the lyrics again, I was thinking, Like there are situations where people need to let go, and because I think that this song does a really, like, it is obvious, like he's in a relationship or trying to seem like he's in a relationship, and he's, don't give up on the relationship. Well, I think that there is something to that, and that is important. I do want to say that there are times when it is appropriate and needed to give up or to let go of unhealthy relationships. And that can also be not only in relationships, but fantasy and desires that are actually fantasy and not based in reality. And also, that doesn't mean that that's going to be easy to do. It doesn't mean that really hard feelings are going to, come up, because it does. And just because difficult feelings surface, that doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing. Which is so hard to really decipher and to figure out, for oneself, if you're making the right decision. Sometimes giving up is the healthiest and the right decision for us. And also, there are other times when, you want to stay in a relationship because you're curious. Well, what would happen? What would it look like if this happens, or the outcome becomes, the life that I've wanted? So that can also drive us, people, into not giving up. And that's, again, really hard to figure out just what to do and the difference between the two. I found this quote. It's really good. It says, "It's hard to wait around for something might never happen, but it's harder to give up when it's everything you've wanted." So that's just it's really, really difficult. And I think there's something I read before we started, and it's, it's the opposite of the song. It's people splitting up. And the harsh reality for me, and I think one of the harsher realities that I think human beings come up against, is that we truly cannot control another person's feelings, thoughts, behaviors, actions, decisions. So if a person decides to leave, the question then becomes, how can I or we take care of ourselves despite what the other person has chosen, whether that is right or wrong? Because the reality is divorce, splitting up, it's easier. It can be easier. Not that it's not hard. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. Sometimes that's chosen because it's easier than to face the hard stuff and to, get down to the foundation of who I am as a human being and all the individual stuff and all the individual work that comes with that. And then also looking at the marriage and the foundation of the marriage. And
I would say the biggest thing that people are terrified of most, and why they would rather just give up, is because they don't want to do the work on themselves. Sure. And they just want to point the finger at someone else's fault. And they're terrified to look inward and even consider that they had a role in whatever it is. Because in almost all situations, in my opinion, I mean, like when marriages don't work or when it's really bad, I promise you, it is both ways. Like, it is both ways. There might be one way that looks more obvious to the outside and whatnot, but it is. It's both. It's both, because it's two completely different people trying to be the same person. And oftentimes people can just give up too quick because of that. But then there's also scenarios where, like you just mentioned, it's important to state here, we're not sitting here saying don't give up no matter what, because we both come from the Christian backgrounds growing up, where you don't divorce no matter what for biblical reasons, and that leads to a lot of very unhealthy, dysfunctional,
that's exactly what I was
marriages. People who just have their problem, like you talk about people wanting to numb out and wanting to tune out life. Like there's just so much there behind when you do that. So we also say, we come from that. So we also just want to make sure we stay here.
Yeah.
It's okay if it's just not gonna work. Like if you have done the work, but that's my biggest thing too, because we've gotten asked that before on the show. Like people have asked, how do you know when to give up, essentially, when to split and move on. And it's just, and for me, like my answer for that is, if you have both done the work, like you have both tried when it comes to the support, when it comes to counseling, when it comes to looking inward at yourself. And if at the end of the day, for all the reasons it could be, it's just not meant to happen. You're just not meant to be together because your differences are just too much. They're too, the hurt's too much. Whatever the hundreds of thousands of reasons it could be. But if you have done the work, it's just is my opinion, because a lot of people will not do that work and call it quits, right? Because they won't do the work, and then right, you'll never know because you just give up way too quick.
Right. This is a fine line. This is a hard.
It is. It is a hard. This could be a whole episode.
Yeah. Because there's two, partners that with emotional abuse who point the finger and say, it's all your fault. And so then it could sound like we're saying to take responsibility for your part, and then that's where it ends. Like,
there's no right. Yeah. One way or the other, there's no right way to talk about this.
But that is not healthy. We are not condoning that either. I mean, it is a
situation by situation scenario. And this is not a broad you should or shouldn't do situation.
No.
It is a situation by situation type thing.
Yeah, and it's messy. Out of all of my time here on this planet, I have learned that relationships are so complex. They are so layered because humans, as a human being, as an individual, I am so complex. I'm so layered, so multifaceted. I mean, it gets messy real fast. And of course, it's going to be the same way in relationships. So, anyways,
So, anyway. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate you tuning in for our 11th episode of Finding Us the Podcast. We're glad to be back. It's been months, but we're here to stay for a while. And we're just excited. We're going to finish out the album in the next couple episodes, I think. We got 2 more episodes of the album. And then from there, we're just going to talk about whatever we want to talk about. I'm just kidding.
That could get fun.
No. We'll be a little more specific on, topics. Or we might just come in here and just hit record and be like, what's up? What y'all doing? What are you going to talk about today? What's about cool stuff? Which some people like that. I don't know. We'll see. Anywho, thank you guys. We love y'all. Hope you're having a great 2021. I hope it's better than 2020. The forecast doesn't look great so far, but I hope you. I hope they were wrong on the forecast. So,
I guess it depends on who you ask if the forecast is wrong or not.
Oh, you're going political right now. I'm not going political. I'm just saying in general.
I actually wasn't trying to.
I saw that eye. You had a political look to you.
I am not getting.
We don't talk political on this show.
No. Nope.
Heck no.
Not doing it.
Not if we want a bunch of hate emails, because no matter what we say, because that's the world. That's 21. That's 20. That's 19. But more so 20. Okay. I need us to hit end here, or
we need to redo
we're going to say things. We're not redoing this. This is raw. She thinks I'm going to redo this. This is all staying here. Love you guys. We're going to get off before we say something we shouldn't. Say bye. Say bye.
What about our ending? Did you forget our ending?
Oh, our ending. Yes, it's been a while. What is our ending?
You say our name, and I say with Chad and Fallon.
Oh, this is Finding Us the Podcast. Oh, wait. No, you didn't do it right. All right, here we go. Ready? Thank you, guys. We love you all. Thank you for listening to our insanity. This has been Finding Us the Podcast.
With Chad and Fallon.
Boom.